good afternoon, and good evening. How's everyone doing? So, I wanted to talk about a few things today, but um, if you're on my WhatsApp, you would see like the status that I put in. I'm like, if ever there's a theme song for HR, it's Bridgerton's, the musical Bridgerton, Burn for You. It's basically that. And the lyrics is just, if you ever seen the lyrics, you can just like, there's like some words you can just take it out and just put in like other words, and that's basically HR. That's basically in the employee is the girl, and Simon is the HR. Simon knows that, like in the song, Simon knows that Bridgerton hates him, that she is forced to be with a guy she hates, and HR knows that. HR knows that employees are forced to be with a department they hate because of rotten apples. And I'm sorry for that language, but because of the rotten apples of HR and the really messed up personalities and messed up personas that some HR, like some HRs get it. Like some companies get really messed up personalities. Personalities that are. If I start tearing up, that's because I'm just frustrated and I'm very angry. To be very honest, I'm in a lousy mood. Because I was thinking about it yesterday, and I was like, it's just the rotten apples of HR pretty much dominated the good ones, the true ones, the ones that I call true HRs. And I can't find a logical explanation. I really cannot find a logical explanation for how can a human being just, okay, this is my rant, but how could a human being find joy in the misery of others? Just how? Where in their brain did? I mean, it has to be something. It has to be like a personality disorder or something. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, but it has to be a disorder of some sort. I mean, borderline narcissism, because that's the only one I can think about is narcissism. Narcissists will do that. Narcissists will actually harm people and do what some of the HRians do because that's just what they find joy in. Narcissists live for themselves, and they will make everyone around them feel belittled. That at best, at worst, they will enjoy just the way some of the personalities that I've seen, they're like borderline narcissists, borderline psychopath. So not psychopath, sociopath. Because psychopath is a little more disturbing than sociopath, but it's sociopath. And it's sad. And it's not the idea is that how can you sleep at night? Literally, how can you sleep at night when you make employees reach to the point that they are exhibiting the same symptoms as PTSD? They're like, the moment anything negative happens, they start going full on panic. And I'm not talking panic as in like the panic of like, oh my god, I'm like talking serious panic, like hyperventilating, like their pupils are dilated, they're hyperventilating, they're having a hard time breathing because they're just like sitting down frozen like a gear at the heart on a headlight. And for a person to reach to that level, where a simple word can trigger that, the hell you did. Honestly, how could you sleep? The hell you did to them. And that's why I'm in a lousy mood, because I'm like sitting down there like, so job is to do like there's one rule of thumb in HR, and that is never befriend your employee. Never befriend them, because if you befriend them, then it goes onto a personal level, and your judgment gets misguided. So you can, as much as you can, just be acquaintances if you want to, like try and help them and everything, but do not befriend them. Due to employees being PTSD, you're put in a dilemma, because you're gonna have the only way you can solve this. The only way you can solve this is break one of the biggest rules of HR, and that is to befriend your employees, to actually be their friend and actually be there for them, and actually be that, or hire a therapist. And boy, are you going to be paying so much if you're hiring a therapist, because a therapist, like, okay, let me tell you now what the prices are for therapy in Egypt. So the prices for therapy in Egypt, as of last year, okay, they're going to increase this year as well, is for an hour is, if best case scenario, for an hour you're paying around 1,500. Last year it was between 500 and 1,000. With the prices, the way the prices are, we're talking about 1,000 to 1,500. Because some douchebag, excuse my language, but some douchebag decided to play battle royale between the employees. It makes that sort of mentality makes the person, whoever the person that's coming after you, feel absolutely defeated. Before they even started, they feel defeated, because they're dealing with a psychological problem. Not even a performance problem. Like performances, you can train them. With performances, you can train the performances. With the ability of, like, let's say you have a problem with the performance, you're going to train them. You have a problem with attitude, you're going to work on that. But psychological problems that came out of trauma? Freaking kidding me! Traumatizing your employees is not cool. It's not the right way of HR. It is not humane to do that. And yes, I am getting angry. I am getting very angry, because it's not humane to do that. I had a manager who was like that. I had a manager like that, and that manager made me feel like I was nothing. You know what happened? When I finally left? When I finally left the place, I walked right up to that manager and I looked at them in the eyes, and I was like, "May Allah give you 10 times what you have put me through." Can you imagine a person saying that? Saying literally to your face, may you get reciprocated 10 times worse what you've put me through. I still have nightmares from that manager. I still have nightmares from like relationships that are like that. So I get triggered when I see somebody getting hyperventilated. It triggers me, because I'm just sitting there because my brain no longer thinks like an HR. My brain is literally looking up through their eyes, because I know exactly how they feel. I know their feeling, I know their emotions, I know exactly how they feel, I know exactly what they're going through. And I can do effing nothing. All I can do is just watch. And do you know how frustrating that is? How angering that is? It is very angering. You can't do that to your employees. I'm very sorry, you can't do that to your employees. If you think that is the right thing to do, I'm very sorry, but you're in the wrong industry. You're in an industry that is humane, that is supposed to be for humans. And yes, I get, look, I studied HR. Okay? I studied HR for the amount of the times that I did. I crammed around 4 years into 2 years. Did nothing but summer, winter, spring, summer. That's what I did with the HR. And I crammed it through that. And then I passed it, and I did a good job in it, and I got a GPA of about 3.8. 3.8. About 3.8, yes. So, understand what their origins is. But if you have some decent human being in yourself, and if you are a human being, you do not put people through that. Again, I do apologize that I'm getting very emotional, and I'm literally, you don't put, I promised myself when I was doing this video that I was not going to cry, but I can't help it. You don't put human through that. You do not fucking put human through that. If you think it's a good thing to do to put humans through that, you are very wrong. And with all due respect, you're a monster to put humans through that. I don't care if they're weaker than you because they're weaker than you, and because you think that you have the power, and you put them through that. You put them through the point where one person was freaking hyperventilating, okay, and I'm talking like seriously, like that, and literally crying and just like going like, please don't do, please. I'm repeating the word please, don't fire me, to put a human being through that, because if they weren't, and you can sleep at night. What type of monster are you? What type of monster puts human through that? I'm sorry, but that's a monster that puts human through that. That is a complete and utterly heartless monster that puts people through that. Puts people through that is PTSD. That is PTSD. That's what PTSD looks like. I mean, that's like one of the forms of PTSD. The other form is very violent. But that's PTSD. That's somebody who's triggered from a word, and you think it's okay. It's okay to trigger them for. I got so angry yesterday. And I was like, I had to keep like a very stoic face, because that's what HR does. HR puts stoic face. But inside, I was so pissed off. I was like, who the hell puts humans through that? Who the hell thinks this is okay? To put human through that? To put human through a human crying and saying, please don't fire me. One of the high performers, by the way, one of the highest performers I've seen in my life, in my entire career. This is one of the highest human performers. And it's not a high performance due to loving the place, it's high performance due to fear. And I've seen that before. I've only seen it one time before. But this case was extreme. And that's okay. I'm sorry, but this is a monster word. Whoever caused that, I don't know what to say. I mean, you seriously need to rethink your life. Because putting a person through that many things, and through that many pain, I don't know what you're doing.